Who was the dumbest person you ever met? How did you know? My coworker was feeling lethargic, bloated, and had stopped menstruating. We told her she was probably pregnant. She decided on her own that she was anemic and started eating a dozen raw eggs every day. She had a full-term baby 5 months later. A dozen raw eggs. Did she give birth to Gaston? My former boss was worried that the island of Manhattan would sink with all the extra visitors for New Year's and the ball dropping. She thought islands float, and when she found out that wasn't true, she thought it was so funny that she told everyone the story. She was later fired for withholding a pay raise from someone on her team because he didn't accept her sexual advances. He had the texts to prove it. Edit. Grammar error. Tell her that her bus is late today. It will be in at $3 to 11. $3 equals 300 cents equals the bus will be in 300 minutes before 11. The bus will come at 6 that evening or tomorrow morning. One time my now ex-girlfriend was watching Maury Povich, one of those paternity test episodes with the classic "you are not the father" moment, and she turns to me and says, "If we ever have a baby and I found out I'm not the mother, I'll kill you." Thankfully we didn't end up reproducing. You just randomly bring home a baby. Congratulations, dear. We've had a child. Don't worry, it's yours, honey. Few years ago in Australia, Coke changed their bottle to be a bit narrower and taller to sue less plastic. Both bottles were 600 milliliters. Girl in my class at uni adamant that the change wasn't to reduce plastic, but so they could put less Coke in to save money. I know they are both 600 milliliters, but the new one has less Coke in it. People like this are the reason why companies have to stoop to ridiculous lows in order to cater to the biggest morons out there. Didn't a fast food company have to discontinue a 1/3 pound burger because people thought the 1/4 pound was bigger and therefore the 1/3 pounder shouldn't have been more expensive? Something like that. I'm probably remembering it wrong. Yeah, you're thinking of the A&W restaurants. I remember a guy I knew in middle school who put money into a vending machine and then his item didn't come out. Then he put more money into the machine and 2 of the item he wanted came out. He then exclaimed, "Alright, 2 for 1. Ma'am." I remember a guy in middle school who would put money in the vending machine and then sell the item for less money because he thought that's what making a profit was. I asked a temp at work to weigh a couple of lever arch files for postage. She came back and told me they were 65 kilograms. I asked if it were possible that it was 6.5 kilograms, but she insisted it wasn't. We argued about it for a good 5 minutes. It wasn't until I asked her how much she weighed, 59 kilograms, that it finally twigged that these 2 small folders couldn't possibly weigh more than her. Bold move asking her how much she weighs. Edit. My first silver. I'm humbled and honored. Thank you, stranger. Pure frustration. My friend wanted me to try whole wheat pasta. I explained that I'm allergic to wheat. She said to try it because it's not wheat, it's whole wheat. He had just purchased a new high-powered BB gun. We had just finished shooting it in the backyard when he points the barrel at my face and pulls the trigger several times. I tell him to stop being an idiot and he just laughs and says it's not loaded. Then the moron puts the barrel in his mouth and pop shoots a BB right through his tongue and into his uvula. Edit. For those asking why it shot him and not me, I was sitting down, so the end of the barrel was at a downward angle. When Genius shot himself, the barrel was at an upward angle, causing the last BB to roll down to the back of the ammo tube and into the chamber. Oh, so it's a girl mouth. Now that's a reference. I had a boss who told me that she never kept leftovers from a meal because that's how polio got started. All that pre-cooked food in the supermarket, it's all polio. Edit. My first silver. Thank you, stranger. White girl didn't think she could get pregnant because the guy was Mexican. Swear on my life. A girl in my class in middle school genuinely thought people had landed on the sun. Her explanation for this belief was to insist that the moon and sun are made of the same stuff. Well, yeah. Protons, neutrons, and electrons. You can build a lot of wacky shit with that, though. Protons, neutrons, electrons, and morons apparently. A girl in my sophomore year of high school who thought there were 6 months in a year. She was really nice, but very surprised and confused when we tried to set her right. How did she get to high school without someone setting her straight? Edit. Neat. First ever gold. Well, you see, she got there in half the time. This dude I worked with for 3 days. He was hired to be a fabricator, which is mostly cutting metal and welding stuff up. He claimed to have welded for many years, which we very quickly realized was an embellishment point. Within his first 2 days he got into a heated verbal argument with a coworker that advised him to not smoke cigarettes in the shop right next to multiple tanks of incredibly flammable gases, told our manager to fuck off and let him do his job. Manager was trying to tell him what to do, started a decently large fire because he didn't clean the floor underneath where he was welding, and then started yelling at people trying to tell him there's a fire point, smoking blunts on the job. With no attempts to be discreet, by some miracle he managed to ruin a welder and 2 grinders beyond repair, and on top of all this, he had this smug "I'm better than everyone else" attitude. He was promptly fired on the 3rd day and had the audacity to argue with management about it before storming out and flooring it out of the parking lot, running down the shop's mailbox. Edit. Removed part about his welds breaking and causing damage that wasn't him. I was thinking of another temp employee from a year prior. Oops.
Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing for some more awesome questions.